Well, that was a long intro. I'm sure you guys were waiting for that to end. So, welcome to the Morning Constitution. I'm your host, Joel Hawksley, and this is presented by Jay in Washington. Uh, we're s- we're located in Orlando. Thank you very much for showing up and waking up. This is a great opportunity to kind of rebrand the show. Maybe get to know each other a little bit better, move things around. So if there's an echo or something, we're going to be, we're going to wing it. But the last time I tried to wing it, had a, I took in, how do I put it? I had an audio issue, but I fixed it because we record on the Roadcaster Pro. So, so, little rock and roll this morning. I was trying to do a little bit different. Should have probably done some jazz, maybe some. I'll get some jazz and some other music for the month. But this month, first, I want to start out by Orlando lost two incredible people this last week. One was Harvey Massey. Now, Harvey Massey, everybody sees the trucks and they run around Central Florida. Is a pest control company, but Massey was a major was a sorry was a major donor to the GOP, but he wasn't afraid to disrupt and clean up. He was not he was not that kind of person. Like if you put him in charge of something, he took charge of it. So it's sad to know that Harvey Massey is gone, but it's nice to know that his family will carry on. But another thing I want to talk about, another loss we had was our county mayor, Jerry Demings. He lost his father, Freddie, on the 31st. So he was 100 years old. And I just want to let him know, as I did in our posts on social media, that David Washington and I are send our deepest condolences. We understand that from all the speeches and all the time we have gotten to spend with the mayor, that his father is the inspiration for his service. So, you know, he made it to 100. So I don't want to say so, but he made it to 100 years old. That's a huge accomplishment. But we pray for you, Mr. Mayor, and we pray for your family. So I'm trying to adjust this. There's like I get too much door back there, but I can fix it later. So I liked the backdrop of "You Can't Make This Shit Up" when we were out there at the Radisson. If you haven't seen that episode, it was quite it was quite good. So you get to see my reflection. I really have to invest in glasses that won't do that. So, but what else do I have? I said February. It's already February. We're in 2023. It's already February. Where does the time go? Well, it's Black History Month. Now, a lot of people, oh, these celebratory months, they get wrapped up in the minutia of those things. And I wish they wouldn't, because it's it's a wonderful opportunity, because for somebody like myself, it really brings um, a lot of misunderstanding. Like, you can't have American history without African American history. Now, we could get into the minutia, as everybody does, but let me go over a couple of things. So, you may wonder, why do we do this in February? Well, I'll get to that. Because do anybody know Black history, right? A gentleman who was named Carter G. Woodson. He lived from 1875 to 1950. He was an American historian. He was a scholar and the founder of the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History. Now, Woodson was instrumental in launching Negro History Week in 1926. So you got 1926, you got Mr. Woodson saying, we need to teach, we need to educate on Negro history. 50 years later, President Gerald Rudolph Ford would officially recognize Black History Month during the country's 1976 bicentennial. Now, Ford called upon Americans to seize the opportunity to honor the too often neglected accomplishments of Black Americans in every area of endeavor throughout our history. A powerful way of saying it. Now, February was chosen primarily because the second week of the month coincides with the birthday of both Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. Now, Lincoln was influential in the emancipation of slaves, and Douglass, a former slave, was a prominent leader in the abolitionist movement, which fought to end slavery. So, a lot of criticism can be found in the month of February. It only has 28 days. Surprisingly, every 4 years, it has a 29th day. So it'd be the shortest month. Every other month has 30 or 31. But look at the history. Why was it selected? It was selected because Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass were born in the same week. Now, we used to have this is going to come in later. This is going to come in later because you're going to find some very interesting. You're going to find some very interesting. I don't know how to say it, but you'll facts throughout the month. But I do want to cover Black history because Frederick Douglass, absolutely one of my favorite historical figures. I've read his book. I've read lots of things about him. Abraham Lincoln, I adore. And I'm amazed at the history of Lincoln. I mean, you if you're a constitutionalist like myself, you look at Lincoln in a kind of surprising way, but it's wonderful that he was an abolitionist, that he helped form the Republican Party in Wisconsin. He actually decided to make the Civil War all in about freeing slaves. And we can talk about that later. But I just wanted to really address that because this is a month that I think we should do. I love history. I love history of all kinds. And I just think that there's so much fertile ground in the African American history, in Black history. I just really think we should be focused on every aspect of what makes America great. Our mistakes have made us better. And if I look at it, and I'll always look at it as though our mistakes have made us a better country. And I don't sit there and contemplate the past in a negative, in a negative light. It's a negative period, but take what we did to change it. If we were still there, then we have a problem because we wouldn't have learned from our mistakes. So enough of that. I really want everybody here to know that I am passionate about history. I am passionate that this is Black History Month. I have just absolutely, we're going to talk about Frederick Douglass. We're going to talk about all kinds of historical figures. I mean, Barack Obama is in our Black history now. I mean, you can't have U.S. history without Black history. So enough of that. I want to move on because there's a lot going on. We really got to see, when we're talking about history and stuff, we've got to really look at some of the things that are happening here in Florida. And it's amazing that 25 states in the United States have a law of constitutional carry. Now, constitutional carry. Now, everybody who tunes into the show, if this is your first time, I welcome you. I'm a conservative. I am a Republican. I don't shy away from that. I am a Republican because of the history of the party. I'm a Republican because I believe that the party has the right ideals. I sometimes question my party as well as the opposing party. And I think that's the foundation of why somebody like myself and somebody like David Washington, a Democrat, we can come together and we can have these conversations because we don't have to get vitriol. We don't have to get, we can have a decent conversation without name calling and everything else. So that's why I love this company. I love the things that we're doing. But constitutional carry, big Second Amendment guy. I am big Second Amendment. I understand the Constitution. I understand the actual. I've dug into what the Supreme Court has said about the Second Amendment. I truly believe in the Constitution. And I believe that every amendment can be amended. I believe our Constitution is a living, breathing document in the fact that we have control over that document. Now, whether we control it or not, that's a different thing. Because we made a mistake. And I talk about mistakes all the time. We made a mistake as a nation. When we put out, when we said, we're gonna just take out alcohol. Prohibition. We don't need it. Because we were so scared of these Europeans that were now coming over and they were drinking. They were drinking alcohol and it was like a big deal. See, we do often do weird things when we have fear. There's a lot more that goes into it than that. I just briefly said that, but it's a whole lot more that goes into it. The funny thing is everybody forgets that we took it away, that we amended the Constitution to eliminate prohibition. So our Constitution is a living, breathing document because it can correct itself. But we have to correct it. So it's the Constitution is a wonderful document. You have to, if you haven't, you have to read. Just read through the Constitution. It's not the most exciting and driven thing, but just read it. And if you're spiritual, just like you would read your spiritual text, you really just, you should read it not as the Bible or the Quran or something like that, but read it to try to understand it. Read it to really pull on those words. Because I really don't think, when you talk about the Second Amendment, there's a reason the Second Amendment was put in place. There's a reason that the 12 amendments to the Constitution were actually proposed. Only 10 were voted in. Only 10 were ratified. So you have the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights is 10. Now, you all heard me say 12, but there were 12 proposed. And actually, 11 of those are in the Constitution now, because the last amendment to the Constitution was one of the suggested Bill of Rights. So, moving on. Now, the whole conversation was about constitutional carry. So 25 states have constitutional carry. The state of Florida is looking at constitutional carry and presenting, passing a law, sending it to the governor. The governor is set to, pretty much set to sign it into law. That would make our entire nation a majority constitutional carry, because we'd have 26 out of the 50 states. That's a big deal in all these articles that you read in the newspaper. But I don't get that out of here. So we talked about that. Yeah. So we're talking about constitutional carry. The Florida bill could hand gun owners a huge win and make the U.S. a constitutional carry majority country, because it would be 26 states. Now, that's where a lot of these articles have gone to. But I had something that I pulled up because I really wanted to talk to you about it, because it came up this week. The Florida constitutional carry, the House Speaker announced legislation allowing concealed guns without permits. Now, that's interesting because if you look at constitutional carry, typically it doesn't go there. It doesn't allow, concealed carry. It just means that you can openly carry a weapon. So, but the Constitution says you have the right to bear arms. The pro on this is, hey, it's in the Constitution. We should protect it. We should make sure that nobody can, our Constitution, our laws protect and give that constitutional right a highway to the individual. It won't change the law on how do you purchase a weapon. It won't change the law on background checks and the things that have to happen, but it will change the law where you won't have to have that concealed permit. Now, if you go out of state, of course, and I don't know how all that works right now, but I just wanted to share that because that was very interesting because this changes the whole conversation and possibly may change even some Republicans may be hesitant on this. Now, I'm not sure, but I know that the Florida Constitution will carry. If the House Speaker is saying the legislation allows concealed guns without permit, that is a big deal. Huge deal. Now, if anybody's interested, because we always want you to be looking locally, this is state, this is local. So, House Speaker Paul Renner, he's a Republican from Palm Coast. The bill, if you want to read the bill, if you want to look at the bill, is House Bill 543. Okay, so House Bill 543, if you want to read it, we aren't going to handle that, but let's go a little deeper because the constitutional carry is supported by the what is it? The sheriff's organization. Gosh, see, this is why preparedness is always important because I knew the name of it and then it just dropped out of my mind. But it was now I know that. Okay, so let me get into this. So the sheriff's organization, when it comes to my mind, supports this bill. The legislature seems to be supporting this bill. Now, Sheriff Mina from Orange County wrote an op-ed piece. He is absolutely not for this. Thinks it's going to make his job harder. The people in the field in more danger. I'm not sure where Sheriff Lima is on this. It will be nice to find out. But this is very interesting that the sheriffs want to support this. Moving on, because that's constitutional carry. That's just one of the things. Just one of the many things that happened this week. It's been an incredible week. So if you're not aware, I mean, we are a nation of short memory. So if you don't remember, Brazil had elections and the leader, Bolsonaro, he came to the United States on a visa because he was a leader. He has now requested to extend his stay here in the U.S. So he's asked for a tourist visa, I believe it is, because the former Brazilian president he wants to spend more time in Orlando, and he's also facing mounting legal issues over the uprising in his home country. Like he was here. However, they're saying that he orchestrated it. I assume that's not for me. No, not for me. But I know the Democrats don't want this to happen. The Democrats want to send him, right back. They want to beat him up. Just let's get him. Let's get him back down there and let's revoke his visa, make him stand trial. But these are the same people that want to hold Donald Trump accountable for January 6th. And when you know the outcome of something, why would you waste the money on researching it? I mean, putting that much effort into it. So we spent a lot of money on the January 6th committee. We knew what the outcome was going to be. I'm not going to talk about that because it's not worth it. But it's interesting that they keep trying to compare this Brazilian uprising to what happened on January 6th. So that's always really interesting. Now, here's something I really want to talk about. And David and I have already talked about constitutional carry, right? We've had that conversation. We had the conversation about Reedy Creek. You don't know what Reedy Creek is. It's Disney's authority to maintain their own roads, to do their own water storage. It's just, they had the right to run everything as an autonomous city. They actually had so much power in the Reedy Creek, in Reedy Creek, that they could have built a nuke reactor. I mean, not a reactor, but a nuclear power plant. So, yeah, that's a lot of. That was huge. That's a lot of. I know they're not going to do it, but that's a lot of power. And the governor and the CEO at the time, they clashed over the fact that the parental bill of rights, or was going through legislation. The activists and the news media loved the little soundbite, don't say gay. So the bill became don't say gay. And every time you'd pick up a paper, it was don't say gay. And then the LGBTQ plus community and those that work at Disney get mad at leadership for not standing up and making a stand. They make a stand, and it's like, you do realize that you sit down there with special privileges that nobody else in the entire state has, and you want to push the legislation, right? You can be against it. That's not I don't think that was where his problem was. You can be against it, but to market it, don't say gay, misinform people, that's where the governor got upset. So everybody wants to say this was just the governor having a temper tantrum, and all of the legislature coming together to take Reedy Creek, but it's more than that. It's always more than that. It's just so simple to go, oh yeah, that's what happened, because it's obviously looked like that. There's always a lot more that goes into this. All these little things. So let me see. The governor is actually anticipates that he's going to have a special session on the Disney Reedy Creek probably next week. And that's an incredible step, because my belief is that Reedy Creek will be reinstated, but it won't be reinstated with the power it had before. I think our legislature has reviewed it, has said, yes, Disney, has a lot of property. It makes sense for them to run their own fire department, to run their own, security. I think they'll put something in place. Now, with that said, that's what this special session will be about. Now, special session coming now is interesting because this conversation won't be in when the legislature gets together in March. It won't be a topic. It won't be the main topic. So they can address it now, get it off the agenda. And I just think they rearrange it. And that's my 2 cents. Oh, let's see. What else did I want to cover today? See, I've had my 30 minutes and I'm already flying. I'm having a good day. Oh, shoot. Oh, this is a good one. I just want to share this one because it's local. So if anybody in Seminole County, you know, and I know you Orange County people have the same thing, but if you've never heard of Hollerbach's, it's German. It is a German restaurant, and it is like the place downtown in Sanford. Like it's growing. They have a German store. They have the German restaurant. They have all kinds of stuff going on there. David and I were invited to a was it a meat bingo? Yeah. So I'm not going to explain it. It was wonderful. It's wonderful. It's hard to hear. We got in. I came in later. I had to be in the back, so it was my first one. I would do it again, but I would probably want to be more into the building. I would have probably gotten there earlier, but it doesn't happen in our business because we always have someplace to be. So it's like, hey, I got to tear myself away because I need to go to this event. I really do. Even though the event was just to have a good time. But isn't that what networking is having a good time? So you're like, Joel is left the barn. Hollabacks is launching a weed themed Sanford eatery called The Joint. Yeah, you can't make this shit up. I'm gonna have to save that one. I'm probably gonna have to save that one. I'm just like in awe of this article. I don't know how I missed it. It was January 30th. The Orlando Sentinel came out with it, and it's wonderful because if so, it's the team behind the popular Hollabacks Willow Tree Cafe. They are launching a new eatery with a weed culture theme inside a downtown Sanford bar and live music venue. Oh, this blows my mind. Blows my mind. I say it every time, and I don't. I don't have a look. I don't have a problem with people intrigued or trying to find medicinal purposes for marijuana. That's not my fight. I just don't want somebody who's high on the road if I can't detect, if our officers can't detect, like a breathalyzer tells you, it tells you how much alcohol, and you can set your limit there. THC lives in your system for over 30 days. So there's no immediate, well, that's a conversation for a different day. So I'm not anti anything. I'm anti, like, let's not do it till we have a safe place. But it's funny that smoking is absolutely it's like murder. Like somebody smoking a cigarette, they get the glare of, why are you still smoking? Are you trying to kill me? And yet marijuana, which is still on the banned substances list, which Congress and everybody up in ATF or whatever, this could be a change made at the federal level, and it wouldn't be a problem. Like I have another stand for you. If a state makes it legal for marijuana, recreational marijuana, that state is breaking the law. By the way, the law is written. Like, by the way, our laws go, it's a banned substance. The state then says, okay, well, we're going to make it legal for people to smoke it recreationally. Yet, mind you, smoke it like smoking, like it stinks. I'm sorry, guys, marijuana stinks. It reeks, but it helps your appetite. So go for it. And this is not the conversation that it's like they're breaking the law. The federal government has every right to come in, and that's why it's still a cash and carry type of business because the bankers won't get involved in it because they are worried of the repercussions that would happen. So simple, the federal government needs to take it off the banned substances list, give the states the right to do what they need to do. And it's just like, I just look at the 60s, and I'm a history major. So I'm not a history major, I'm history fanatic, but I love the fact that all these people in the 60s, from the 60s, are now on our social programs, Medicare, Medicaid, all this stuff. And now we want to make municipal. I'm going to make a mistake, but we're going to want marijuana to be covered by those programs. Uh, there's no coincidence there, right? There's no coincidence that, hey, now that we're old enough and we're going to be able to have care from the government, let the government pay for it. It's remarkable. Same people that protested the war and were smoking marijuana, taking LSD, having a good time. Again, you can't make this shit up. But this is not that show. This is the Morning Constitution. So I don't know what side I'm supposed to be on. My libertarian friends, they're unique, but there's quite a few Republicans that believe in this too. So it's not something I'm going to talk about today, but just wanted to kind of brush up on it. So as I clear my calendar here of what things I wanted to talk to you about. Oh, let's see. Oh, AP. This is a story I wanted to talk about. The AP. So the Associated Press, or the not Associated Press. There's how do I put this? That's a dead spot. Okay, well, this is it. The African American Studies at Georgetown University was so the college board meets because AP classes have a structure to them, and they try to make it where experts put these things together. So they swear there was no politics involved. It's independent. It's independent from political pressure, but they changed the framework of the African American Studies program, and it's interesting because what they did was they took out some controversial historical individuals because they were controversial. They took out the Black Lives Matter movement. They took out, I'm thinking. They took out, there was a black queer thing that was in there. That really, a lot of these things, it's like, so let me say it this way. There was a revised framework for the controversial advanced placement African American Studies course. Just said that. Now, it was released on Wednesday that it will no longer contain topics such as Black queer studies. And suggested reading about critical race theory, these things that were all brought up by the governor when he addressed this, all this stuff has been really wrapped up and taken out and reworked so that but no political pressure. So either it was inappropriate to have it in there in the first place, or it was it was political pressure. But no matter what, at least we're going to learn, see this AP studies going into high schools, and they'll be able to focus on real history, real history without going into theory, going down a road that they should do in college, right? Go to college if you want to dive into those things, because college is all about theory. College is all about learning how to think. So, oh wow, this is an interesting sound. But I am just so excited about seeing all these different things that we've talked about. Now, as I've the Morning Constitution, I love it. I love you. This is brought to you by Jay in Washington. Uh, we love to get the opportunity to speak with you, and we absolutely love bringing you information. But we'd like to hear from you too. So please get with us on our social media. Any one of our social media is perfect because we're on several of them. We're on YouTube, we're on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And those are those I just showed you are the hashtags or the way to get in touch with us. But you can also call, probably text first. I mean, texting is always a great way of getting in touch with people because it's just like it's there. So people are going to stare, they're going to glance at their phone. They're going to have it turned off. Like I have things turned off right now because I'm in a focus mode for this. I don't want anything to, like my phone to ring or anything. So texting us is 689 800 4212. Again, it's 689 800 4212. Text us. And this is just another show. It's another show that I've had a really good time having a conversation around some very hot topics. And hopefully, you're absolutely looking at the local. You're looking at your local politicians and seeing what they're doing, keeping an eye on them. And again, our condolences to the mayor on the loss of his father. Thank you very much for joining me today.